Alright, figured I kind of owed you guys an update. I haven't uploaded in like 2 weeks. Had a bunch of big life stuff happen recently, and just haven't felt like filming a video. And then I also kind of wanted to step away from like the you know, a video every weekend of just like tiny install stuff. I don't really want to do that stylistically anymore. It's kind of a waste of everyone's time to do something like that. So I think until the car is like officially running and solid running, I'm gonna try and piece together like bigger videos, kind of more educational stuff if I'm doing something kind of like what I just dove into today, where I'm actually, like, I'm going through all the suspension on the rear of the car, trying to redial in some stuff like bump stops and all that. So I already did the driver's side, so I'll go ahead and I'll tear the passenger side down and film that, just so now I can kind of know where I want everything and kind of show off, you know, how it all works at the same time. So yeah, I think, you know, I want to put a little more effort into all this, you know, make the videos a little bit better, try and improve myself on, you know, talking to the camera and being able to put what I want out into the world. And then once the car runs, we can kind of film some cooler stuff, you know, like driving the car and taking it to events and all that good stuff. But yeah, so that's where I've been. So as you can see, I've already kind of dove into it. So I'll go ahead and I'll set the camera up, and then we'll start pulling this side apart, and I'll start picking through what all has to work in conjunction together over here. All right, so I can hear some weather coming in. So we gotta get through this a little quicker than I did the last side. Basically the idea is, I was watching through an old Chelsea Denofa video that I watched a while ago, but never really took too many notes on. The idea is you want to get as much travel out of the arms, so your trailing arm here and your upper control arm, as you can, hitting. So basically what you need is to, you want to get as much travel out of the shock as you can before hitting anything on the chassis. So you don't want to hit your arms on the chassis. You want to set the bump stop on the shock to get as much travel as you can out of the arm before you hit the chassis. So I'll show the way you do that, kind of break down how to test it too. So let's do that. So I kind of know, given from the other side, that I think I had the shocks a little too long. So give me a second to break that. So I had the shock set a little too long on the other side. So I'm going to assume that it's kind of the same over here. Wipe that off. Dirty ass car. Makes it hard to work on. So yeah, so we're gonna raise this a bunch, because with the shock being too long, you're hitting bump stop without getting all the up travel you can. So we're gonna raise this so it's far out of the way. And then, let's see, this is, so that's pretty much where we had it. That was its natural resting position. So let's see. I started on the other side, something similar to this. All I did was just thread this up a bunch, basically until the eye for the shock is up over the bracket for the trailing arm. And then you just reinstall the bolt. You don't have to fully thread it back in. so let me do that real quick. So now that you have the shock bolt threaded back in, you kind of want to have the jack oriented towards you. That way you can extend the jack through its range and jack the rear suspension up. So you want to watch. That's your bump stop there. The bump stop is inside of this dust boot. As you can see, mine aren't in the best shape. A little torn up. So basically just jack the car up until you hit bump, and you'll know you're hitting bump when the car kind of comes up off the jacks, as it is there. We're a little far from what we want to be. This could be a lot tighter. So we're just going to lower this back down all the way there, and then cycle through that until we get this closer and we're hitting bump. So I'm going to go and get that dialed in, and then I'll check back in and kind of show you where it's on. All right, so that's pretty much dialed. That's right on the bump stop. I haven't really unloaded the suspension or unloaded the car yet. But as you can see, we have it real tight in there along the chassis. There is a bit of gap here between the upper and the chassis, but I'm not sure how much more I want to dig for, because with my current rear spring setup, this perch actually bottoms out on the chassis before bump. So I need to get a longer spring. This is like a 6.5 inch spring. If I go longer, I can ditch this and kind of maintain the same ride height, and I won't have to worry about this perch here bottoming out on the chassis. As well as at this height, with the tire on. Granted, this is like a 10.5 with a 255 on it, so it is stretching the 255 a bit. It's gonna rub here, so I'm gonna have to flare the car too, but that's not really a problem. So now we are going to adjust the perch. Not sure how far I went on the last side. Should have taken note of that. I'll do my best to kind of set it up similar on the bench as I did on the last side. So then we can set that and set the car back on the ground, and that'll be the rear suspension all dialed in. So I'm not gonna say it's exact, but it's close enough, given that I think I got some weather coming. So now we're gonna throw all this back in here. All right, just put that back in the spring. Yeah, let me throw this all back together, and then we'll check it out on the ground, because there is some weather.